Good morning and welcome to Let's Talk Truth. Today we're going to talk about something that I think we all go through more often than not. It's battles. And the Lord just keeps showing me more and more about how to cope with them, who is in the midst of them, and I sure am glad. So I hope you'll be blessed with it as much as I've been blessed by learning more from the Lord about battles. Let's pray before we get started. Father, thank you so much for this day that you've given us, Lord. It is beautiful. It's amazing, Lord, how you've just created the earth and just its beauty for our enjoyment, Lord. I pray that you are keeping those in the outdoor elements safe and comfortable through the weather changes that we have so often in the world, Lord. Lord, right now we ask you that you just open our eyes and our ears to hear deeply from you, from your word that you have written so long ago for our well-being this day. In Jesus' name we pray. We love you. Amen. Okay, we're going to be in 2 Kings 6, but first I want to read one scripture to you. It is Exodus 15:3. The Lord is a man of war. The Lord is his name. And so as we read through 2 Kings 6, remember this verse. And when you think about battles, who is the one that can win our battles, fight our battles? It is the Lord, because he is a man of war, is what this scripture says right here. All right, now, 2 Kings 6, we're going to read 8 through 17 first, talk about it, and then we're going to go 18 through 23, okay? Let's get started. 2 Kings 6, Verse 8, Then the king of Syria warred against Israel, and took counsel with his servants, saying, In such and such a place shall be my camp. And the man of God sent unto the king of Israel, saying, Beware that thou pass not such a place, for thither the Syrians are come down. And the king of Israel sent to the place which the man of God told him and warned him of, and saved himself there, not once nor twice. Therefore the heart of the king of Syria was sore troubled for this thing. And he called his servants and said unto them, Will you not show me which of us is for the king of Israel? And one of his servants said, None, my lord, O king. But Elisha, the prophet that is in Israel, telleth the king of Israel the words that thou speakest in thy bedchamber. And he said, Go and spy where he is, that I may send and fetch him. And it was told him, saying, Behold, he is in Dothan. Therefore sent he thither horses and chariots and a great host, and they came by night and compassed the city about. And when the servant of the man of God was risen early and gone forth, behold, an host compassed the city both with horses and chariots. And his servant said unto him, Alas, my master, how shall we do? And he answered, Fear not, for they that be with us are more than they that be with them. And Elisha prayed and said, Lord, I pray thee, open his eyes that he may see. And the Lord opened the eyes of the young man, and he saw, and behold, the mountain was full of horses and chariots of fire round about Elisha. Now, this to me is beautiful. And you have a picture. And what is happening is Syria is warring against God's people, Israel. Okay? It's important to know that, because today, now those things still happen in Israel. People are always coming against Israel. But let's get this to our living and how we can apply this to personal living, because I think it's important. And in this situation, we know that the Syria is warring against Israel, but for us, we have someone who is always warring against us, and it is our adversary, Satan. You know, in Ephesians 6, it says we don't wrestle with flesh and blood, but principalities and powers of the darkness. So we know that there is a war going on against us, God's people, always. Okay, this is a real war going on. Now, when we think of battles in our personal life, here we see a physical battle. There's a real physical battle going on with, chariots and horses, warriors, right? And so sometimes people are in physical battles, some people are in mental battles, some people are in health battles, some people are in spiritual battles. There's so many different forms of battles. And even in this physical war battle here, we see how God works. And we know it to be true in any battle. So what happens here? All right, so they're warring against Israel, right? And the king of Syria is wanting to know where to go, right? So this is what happens next. The man of God sent unto the king of Israel, saying, beware that thou pass not such a place. All right, the man of God. Here we see an intervention. The God of our world, our Father, He intervenes on our behalf. Okay, we see here He's using His prophet Elisha to intervene. And so what He's doing, God has spoken to him and told him what the Syrians are planning to do. So he goes to the king of Israel, go to God's people, and tells them, now, here's a warning. This is what you need to do. Even today, you can probably even think and process it. Have you had people come up to you at church maybe, or in Sunday school, or maybe at a Bible study, or maybe in your workplace, and say, hey, you know, this is going on, and be prepared, beware. I love it when the Lord does that. He does that today, just like He did then, okay? So here we see the Lord intervene by using one of His people to speak His word. So that's how God will intervene today. Also, one of the ways, He intervenes in so many ways, but it's just this one. In this passage, we see multiple ways, okay? This way, He intervened, okay? And the king of Israel sent to the place which the man of God told him and warned him of, and saved himself there, not once nor twice, okay? Now, verse 11, listen to what happens. This king of Syria, he is troubled. He's thinking somebody in his company is betraying him, okay? He's thinking, okay, who has told them what we're doing and is a step ahead of us, right? He says, therefore the heart of the king of Syria was troubled for this thing, and he called his servants and said unto them, will you not show me which of us is for the king of Israel? So he's assuming that someone in their company, that's his people, are betraying him in helping the king of Israel. That wasn't the truth. That is not true. And even today, with our natural eyes, we may even be in a situation that may be going on as well, that someone's thinking that someone's betraying when actually God is intervening on your behalf, okay? Because He is for His people. He is a man of war, and He fights our battles. And if we would just open our eyes, we can see how. And this is one way He used another man of God to speak a word of truth to help His people. And He's always wanted to help. Verse 12, and one of His servants said, none, my lord, O king, but Elisha, the prophet that is in Israel, telleth the king of Israel the words that thou speakest in thy bedchamber. So he's explaining to him what's really happening. And how this guy knew, I don't know, but he did, okay? And probably it's written so we would understand how this takes place, how God intervenes, okay? The Lord will speak to His people. He says, my sheep hear my voice, and they hear me, and they listen. The Lord speaks to His people. And He not only speaks to people who are gifted with prophecy today, he says it, you know, they listen to me. My sheep hear my voice, okay? It said that in the New Testament. It's true. Verse 13, and He said, go and spy where he is, that I may send and fetch him. And it was told him, saying, behold, he is in Dothan. So here we go. Now he's being told where to go, okay? He's seeing that God has intervened because he's spoken by Elisha. And now he's like, okay, well, now we're going to go here. And it's Dothan is where he is. Now you're about to see a whole nother amazing way that God intervenes. I love this. I love this because I think many of us struggle to really get this next part. All right. 14, therefore sent he thither horses and chariots and a great host, and they came by night and encompassed the city about. So you see here, the Syrians are encompassing around in Dothan the people of God, Israel, okay? A host of them, okay? A lot of them. Picture it, just a lot. Think about those, if any of you like war movies, I don't, but or cowboy movies, picture all this, you know, horses and chariots surrounded by the people they're pursuing, right? This is what we see, a great host. 15, and when the servant of the man of God was risen early and gone forth, behold, an host compassed the city both with horses and chariots, and his servant said unto him, alas, my master, how shall we do? So in this battle, this man of God is looking around, what should we do? How can we do it? Look at what's around us. And you know, this is important because whatever battle you are in or have been in or maybe going through soon, or maybe someone in your family or friends or circle of influence are going through, we feel this way. Rightly so. We look around and it's like, how can we do? And he was thinking, how can we win this battle with so many around us? Horses and chariots, warriors. And for you and I, and for me personally, I have thought, we've had some family members that are struggling and lots of people that I'm connected to struggling the last couple of weeks, and it's been very heartbreaking. And so sometimes you feel very weighty, and here he's like, it's in your face, right? But when you're in a battle, no matter what your battle is, whether it's physical, spiritual, mental, or whatever, you feel weighty, and you think there's nothing you can do, and how can we do it? This is so awesome. Verse 16, when you say, how can we do it? And I say, you should ask the Lord that you need to ask the Lord that. 16, and he answered, fear not. How many times have you heard God tell you, fear not? And we've had some topics on fear. Remember that the church is gripped with fear. But he says, fear not, for they that be with us are more than they that be with them. Now, if the Lord told you that, what would you say? What would you think? I mean, look, you would look around and think, well, who's with me, right? And when you see encompassed about with all these warriors pursuing you, they're your enemies, and then the man of God is telling you, fear not. There's more with us than them, and you don't see but however many. You think of Gideon and so many other passages, and the Lord has spoken much about his people and his angels, how they will appear at right the time. And in the Psalms, I can't remember which Psalm it is, he says that the Lord's angel encompasses his children. So you as a child of God are always surrounded by his angels, okay? So Elisha saw this, okay? Elisha saw that God was fighting this battle for them, and he is using angelic beings in their own realm of the spirit, right, to fight this battle. And so he says, fear not. And look what happens next. Verse 17. And Elisha prayed and said, Lord, I pray thee, open his eyes that he may see. And the Lord opened the eyes of the young man, and he saw. And behold, the mountain was full of horses and chariots of fire around about Elisha. Do you see this? So often, we will not see the Lord fighting our battle because our eyes are not open. Now listen, I know that we don't always see this. The Lord just gave me privy to seeing a glimpse of this not too long ago. It's such an amazing glimpse. But we don't always see, and we're not always expected to see. We're not always expecting the Lord to really fight the battle. And so here, Elisha just prayed and asked the Lord. And so maybe some of us need to ask the Lord to open our eyes. Lord, let me see how you're fighting this battle. You see, God intervened this battle by using a man of God, number one, and using angelic beings as warriors, number two. Now, those were two of a gazillion ways that God would intervene and fight our battle. And here, he was given privy. The Lord says to ask. Ask and you receive if you believe, okay? So we can ask the Lord, whatever battle we're fighting, to open our eyes. How is he? And he's done this for me recently. I've been really heartbroken from some sad things in my family, and I've just been, when you're in a battle, you feel, worry, okay? That's what happens with me. I just worry, and the Lord just keeps showing me, LaDonna, what can you do that I can't do? I mean, you can't do what I can do. And he's right. Why would I even think? Like this man knew, what can we do? We can't do anything. Look at these warriors out here. Same thing goes for us. And that's what the Lord keeps showing me. What can you do that I can't do? I can do everything. And so like in this family situation that's really sad, well, I've taken worry and many other battles. You can, place this in any battle that you have gone through or going through, or if you haven't, I hope you will, that when we don't see how the Lord is going to fight this, because he's telling me, I'm going to win this, I'm going to fight this for you, and then you don't really see, show me, Lord, show me how. And he will. Even recently, just show me how he was doing something. Because each person's life is their own journey, and they go through their own battles. And I have to say, battles are a good thing. for me, battles have been a very good thing. It is in the battles that I have learned how to trust the Lord. It is in the battles that I have learned to be weak so He could be strong. It is in the battles that the Lord has shown me how powerful and mighty He is. Look here, showing us this huge mountain full of chariots of fire, His beings, His horsemen fighting this battle. He would not write it if it wasn't true, and He's still doing it today. It's not just for them of times past. This is not just a historical lesson. This is for God to show us how He works. And our ways are not His ways. Our thoughts are not His thoughts. And if we don't read this and see how life plays out of people of the past, then we will lack understanding of how life plays out in our lives today. And it's just beautiful how the Lord meets us in this battle, okay? Let's look at another passage. Continuing on in verses 18 through 23, we see even more how the Lord intervenes. See, the Lord is a man of war, is what Exodus 15:3 says, and He is fighting our battles. We just need to look to Him and see. Verse 18, and when they came down to him, Elisha prayed unto the Lord and said, smite this people, I pray thee, with blindness. And he smote them with blindness according to the word of Elisha. And Elisha said unto them, this is not the way, neither is this the city. Follow me, and I will bring you to the man whom you seek. But he led them to Samaria. And it came to pass, when they were come into Samaria, that Elisha said, Lord, open the eyes of these men, that they may see. And the Lord opened their eyes, and they saw, and behold, they were in the midst of Samaria. And the king of Israel said unto Elisha, when he saw them, my father, shall I smite them? Shall I smite them? And he answered, thou shalt not smite them. Wouldest thou smite those whom thou hast taken captive with thy sword and with thy bow? I love this part. Set bread and water before them, that they may eat and drink, and go to their master. And he prepared great provision for them. And when they had eaten and drunk, he sent them away, and they went to their master. So the bands of Syria came no more into the land of Israel. I don't know if you were thinking what I was thinking when we read this, but again, you see how the Lord intervened and the blessings in His intervention. His ways are just beautiful. Even when it seems kind of, iffy sometimes because you're kind of on shaking ground, but He, in the end, is always working for the betterment of all, okay? Of all. So even the enemy, you see this, even the enemy. So we see the Lord is intervening. Okay, and the first part of the passages was through the Word of God, through his prophet Elisha, and then through spiritual warriors, okay, that you cannot see unless, God has given you privy to see, and you ask and receive. Then here in this next section, we see that He intervened by blinding the Syrian warriors, okay? Blinding them, because see, they were going down to Elisha, and this is what Elisha asked the Lord, and He did it for him, and He did it because He's a protector, because I think that He not only, because I'm going to say this because I'm going to get tongue-tied, because not everything that we ask that God gives, and that's what I'm trying to make clear, but Elisha knew the Lord's ways, and he knew what to ask God, and it was good, and God blessed it, okay? So when we ask in God's will, we're more likely to see Him and to do it and receive what we have asked, okay? And in faith and in full belief. Elisha believed, okay? Totally believed. So, and I just want to make that clear because I know for me, I can be critical and very detailed about, why didn't they do this if He's going to do that, right? So this is why I believe that He blessed that. So He blinded them, right, according to what Elisha had asked. So because of that, when they came down, they were blinded, they didn't know, and they were looking for Israel. And Elisha, now, I don't understand, but he lied. I mean, okay, if you were reading this, if you were thinking what I'm thinking, because I'm like, well, he just told a lie. But I don't know. He just, whatever the Lord allowed to maneuver, he was a man of God, and not that lying's right, but for me, that's the first thing I was thinking. But it was how God got him to where He wanted them, whatever. So He did this, and it's written. So He told them, okay, follow me to the people that you want, right? And so and he did that while they were blinded. Now, after he got them to Samaria, okay, got them to Samaria, not where they were, but to Samaria. Okay, that wasn't where they intended to go. After he got them to Samaria, then then Elisha asked the Lord to open their eyes. And when they did, this is what happened. Verse 21. And the king of Israel said unto Elisha, when he saw them, my father, shall I smite them? Shall I smite them? So the king of Israel, being the leader of God's people there, even though Elisha was the man of God and who, a lot of wisdom was relied on to follow the Lord's will. But naturally, now that we got him here, should we take him on? That was his thought, right? That's what the king of Israel was saying. Now that we got him to this place, and I haven't done enough historical research to find out why this place was any different than other place for them to war. But maybe there were more people here to war against them. I don't know. But nevertheless, that was his response. Okay, now that we have them here, should we smite them? And you think as wars and battles, I guess that's what you think of, right? But I love this. Listen to how the response went, okay? Verse 22, and he answered, thou shalt not smite them. Wouldest thou smite those whom thou hast taken captive with thy sword and with thy bow? Set bread and water before them, that they may eat and drink and go to their master. Okay, this is so amazing because you see, God has delivered not just his people, but he has just delivered the people against his people. You see that? Not only has he delivered them and protected them from being, warred against, he says, well, let's feed them. I love that about the Lord. He's like, hey, let's feed them. Who does that? We're in the middle of a battle, and let's feed our enemy. I love that. This picture is just so beautiful. It's just perfect in my eyes. I just love it. Set bread and water before them, that they may eat and drink and go to their master. So he did. Verse 23. And he prepared great provision. He didn't just provide provision, not just food, great provision. I should have looked up the word great so we could really magnify it in our minds about great, because great was an adjective that they could have totally left out. He could have said they provided for them. No, great provision. So it wasn't just, bread and water to eat and drink. It was great. And this is a picture of the Lord. I think we need to get that. The Lord doesn't do minimal. He's not a minimalist God. He's not. No. He does things great. He does things excellent. He does things magnified. He is over the top, lavishing people, lavishing his people and the enemies of his people. You see this? This is what he did. He said, and he prepared great provision for them. And when they had eaten and drunk, he sent them away, and they went to their master. So the bands of Syria came no more into the land of Israel. It was profitable. You see that? It was effective. And it was God's way. And see, so much of our battles, we do it our way, and it's not effective, okay? And it's not profitable. And we just keep this roller coaster ride of just battles after battles, and we keep doing it the same old way, and you think that we get a hint by now from doing it our way doesn't work. We see here when God intervenes, it is powerful, and it works. And he blessed his people, and he also blessed the enemy. And there's no greater picture than that. And we need to be mindful of that. Now, even outside of battles, we need to be blessing our enemy. The Lord says to love and bless. What good is it to you to just bless the ones that love you? He says, that's no different. He says, but when you bless your enemy, bless those who curse you, that is what is effective in life. Not only effective in the physical realm, but the spiritual. We see here, this wasn't a spiritual matter with the Syrians, okay? This was a physical battle. And today, there's a huge, great spiritual battle going on in this world. And if people don't see your response as a follower of Jesus Christ, as a proclaimed Christian to be modeled like Christ, you're a stumbling block. I'm just going to say it like it is, a stumbling block. Because people need to see how the response is from those that are following Jesus. I tell you, that's the biggest testimony of our ministry, is I hear that time and time again. Wow, I saw how you responded to that man who threatened you, or to the one who called you all those names. Nothing but Jesus. Well, to God be the glory. That's what our goal is, folks. That is what our God is. He is in the midst of our battles, whatever they may be. We need to open our eyes, seek His wisdom, and speak what He says to speak, do what He says to do, and watch Him win. He's a winner, and I love it. We need more winning going on. Okay, we need more winning going on, and that means we're going to have to watch the Lord fight our battles, let Him fight our battles, listen and be patient in it, and love other people in the midst of it. This is beautiful. When you get a chance, I would love for you to go back and read Exodus 14, 10 through 31. It is a picture of the Israelites. We won't read it because we won't have time, but I had done this study at the prison not too long ago, and I spent a lot more time there than I do in this 30-minute segment, and so I can do more. And verses 10 through 31 of Exodus 14 is when that Israel was fearful of Pharaoh, and it's when he delivered them, and they crossed the Red Sea on dry land, and it was it was wet, and it's just amazing. If you see another battle, okay, because the Bible is full of battles. So if you would go and read that and ask these questions yourself, how did God intervene in this battle? Because the more we think about Him being a part of the battle, the more we're going to believe He is a part of the battle, and He will win the battle if we let Him. So ask yourself when you read that passage, how did He intervene? How did God intervene? What was the purpose of His intervention? Okay, what was the purpose? And what was the outcome? See, the outcome is what we don't think about. We don't have the big picture in mind of the battle. We just have this moment that's rough and tough and fearful or draining or whatever. But if we could look at the outcome of all these battles that we saw God intervene in His Word, then we can put our eyes focused on He's got an outcome, and it's for our benefit. He's working all things for the good of those who love Him, who've been called according to His purpose, all things. So when He allows you to walk through valleys and battles, He has got a good thing as the outcome. And it's not always just for you, it's for the enemy too sometimes, okay? Because he wants people to know Him that don't know Him. We should already be following Him and believe in that, right? And shame on us sometimes for not. But read that and ask yourself those questions and just live it out, okay? And live it out in victory. Father, thank You so much for Your Word, and I thank You so much that there's not one thing in this life that we're going through, have gone through, or that we will go through, that You don't have answers here, Lord. So I pray, Lord, that You would just call us to get on our knees, call us to spend time in this Word and just be real about it, instead of this professed Christianity that's draining us, we feel like we're losing the battles, Lord, when You're a winner of battles. Thank You for being a man of war, Lord, like Your Word says. We love and praise You in the holy name of Jesus, who has come so that we may live victoriously, not necessarily rich, but victoriously. In His name we pray. Amen.